Hey everyone, it's Justine and welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas 2017 Day 11. I'm going to be making 3 different cards today in 3 different styles using a similar stamp set for each one. So I'm going to be using the Halftone Stars stamp from Altenew, and I wanted to show you that you don't always need Christmas stamps to create Christmas cards. I like to create things with stamps that for Christmas that I know I can use all year round. For example, these stars and these coordinating dies can be used for various celebrations and birthdays and all occasions, but they could also be used for the star at the top of the tree. So I'm going to go ahead and with one of the smallest size stars, I'm going to be stamping them 10 times in Persian blue ink from Altenew. Now you can stamp these also in the solid star as well, but I wanted to just create something a little bit different. So once I finished stamping all of those, I went ahead and I die cut all of those off of screen. I'm going to put my card base together. It measures 11 by 4 1/4, and then when I fold it at 5.5 inches, it becomes a top folding card. I'm going to add my card layer on it as well. For me, all cards need frames. It's just my style and how I work. It doesn't look complete unless it has a frame around it. I always envy people who can create cards without them because you probably save a lot of paper. But for me, it's just how I work. So I added that to the middle of my card. Then I went ahead and I used some 3D foam tape and I cut it into small pieces and attached them onto the back of each of the stars, all 10 of them in fact. Now if I were to arrange them in a 4-3-2-1 pattern for a Christmas tree, it ended up looking really kind of square. So I ended up arranging them with 4 on the bottom, 3, and then I did the 2 and the 1 at the very top, and I left enough room to put a sentiment on the inside. Now I'm going to be stamping this Christmas sentiment here from the Evergreen sketch stamp from Altenew, which I'm also going to use in the next 2 cards. So I'm just using 2 stamp sets in total, one Christmas one and one non-Christmas one, so that I at least can use one of them for the rest of the year to make other fun cards. I stamped it twice just to get a little bit better of an appearance. So this is the end of my first card, and it is more of a clean and simple look. Let's move on to my second card here, which is a very traditional look using the same 2 stamp sets. So I'm grabbing the Evergreen tree from the sketched Evergreen stamp, which is where the sentiment came from the last card. It's a layering tree stamp, so I'm going to stamp the first layer using frayed leaf. I'm also darkening it up a little bit by stamping it twice in the same spot, and that's possible because I'm using the MISTI stamping tool. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my second layer using Forest Glades. I love Altenew's inks because they take the guesswork out of layering stamping by coordinating all of their inks together in sets. The last one is going to be Evergreen, and it just adds that fine detail on top of the trees to make them look even more realistic. You could change up this look, of course, by embossing it in gold or silver or another color if you'd like. It just takes it to that extra level. Then I'm using that halftone stamp again in the Sunshine Yellow ink, and I'm adding that to the top of the tree. I then went ahead and added a sentiment here, Happy Holidays from Our Home to Yours, and that is from a Christmas sentiment stamp from Altenew. However, I accidentally ended up smudging it, and so I went ahead, stamped it again, and then added it onto a separate piece and covered it. Overall, it was a good save instead of having to start my card over. So now we've gone from clean and simple to traditional, and now we're going to go to elegant and embossed. So for this card here, again, I'm using the same stamp sets, but before we get started, I wanted to prep my piece here using a embossing bag so that none of the embossing powder sticks to an area I don't want it to stick to. I'm going to use one of these large stars from the Halftone Stars stamp from Altenew, and then I'm going to go ahead with the third layer of that Evergreen, or that sketched Evergreen stamp, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp it as if the top of the tree was holding this really massive star. But I'm stamping the tree all along each of the edges where it indents in the stars. I really think that this is going to turn out really nice, almost as if it were a background stamp. I covered it into some gold embossing powder, and I melted the embossing powder using my heat tool. I know Altenew now has gold embossing powder, and I can't wait to give it a try, but I didn't have any for this video. I decided then on a white card base, and I decided that would be best, so I went ahead and added my adhesive, and I ran out of tape halfway through, so I went in with my liquid adhesive. I stuck that onto my card so it had a nice white background, so it was quite vibrant at that point. Then I decided it was missing a little bit of something, so I tested some gold Nouveau drops, and I went ahead and I added those on the points of the stars going all the way to the bottom of the card. And I just kept going on each of the points. I think this makes it look so elegant and really pretty. Now, if you've never used Nouveau drops before, all you do is you squeeze them out onto the cardstock, put the nozzle straight down to the paper, and then I squeeze and I stop squeezing, then I pull up. I find I don't get as many peaks that way when I do that. Then you just need to let it dry. On a separate piece of paper, I stamped Merry Christmas in a nice brush sentiment, and I went ahead and I added some gold embossing powder to my sentiment. I heat embossed it, and then I went ahead and added that to my card. So I just cut it down to a simple rectangle shape and mounted it using some 3D foam tape. I'm pretty sure my Nouveau drops are still drying, so I have to be careful. So I hope you enjoyed this card. I think it's really fun and elegant and really different, and I love the way that it turned out. So it shows you that you can get even more out of your layered stamp than just simply layering them one on top of the other. So here's a final look at the card. Remember, I'm giving away a $25 gift certificate to Altenew, so thank you Altenew for sponsoring this video. It'll be given away by leaving a comment on my YouTube channel, or you can check out my blog for other ways to enter the giveaway. You can click here if you would like to see any of the previous 12 Days of Christmas videos, or you could subscribe to my channel by clicking there over on my face. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow for the final day of the 12 Days of Christmas.